Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Well, today we're going to review this pretty cool looking little budget RC brushed motor truck. I'll show you here the name brand of this, so let me just move the car out of the way briefly so I can show you. The actual brand is UG Toys, so it's UJIE, but most people will be going by the model number on this, which I should be able to find. It here is on the side of the box here. Move the controller over a little bit. It is the UJ99, and then they have the -G167. So a rather long model number, and of course this is in red, that's why that one's checked. It also has like a teal green or aqua blue or some sort of other color that you can get. Of course, it's got some information about the batteries and the controller, which you'll all be able to see here since I have it all out on the table. They claim that it has a top speed of 36 kilometers per hour. So we'll see once we get out, if that looks realistic or not. We might do a speed run. I do have a speed GPS speed meter I could attach to this if we want to. And this is 1/14 scale. And it is 4x4, so it's all-wheel drive. They mention ages 8 and up because this is a little bit smaller, a little bit slower. That it would be ideal for someone who's a bit younger. So here it is, the car. You can see this is sort of a polycarbonate or maybe Lexan type body. I don't know which one it is, but it's one of these flexible ones like you see on a lot of the hobby grade stuff. But this is a harder plastic on the top here. It is just friction shocks. So it's springs only, there's no oil in these. As I usually mention, you certainly could upgrade it, and sometimes you can upgrade these shocks on these little cars for about $5 a pair, $10 overall to oil-filled ones. So something you might want to consider. We'll see how it does when we get it out and we actually drive it. It has rubber tires. They're a little bit stiff. They're not terrible, but they're not any foam or anything, and you can hear the air if I'm quiet. So yeah, they should be decent though. Anything in this speed range is not going to probably, spin on the hub or anything like you see on some of the ones, where they don't glue it down. And the foam always helps inside of these on the more higher end hobby grade cars. So let's go ahead and we'll take the shell off, and then after that we'll take a look at a brief look at the controller and the battery and charger. So we got laying over here on the table. So go ahead and take this off. Now your battery is going to go in right here. This little body clip comes off, and this bracket comes out, and then your battery, your lithium-ion battery, will fit down in there sideways. Here is a 2-pin connector, which you see quite often on these lithium-ion batteries. It's not like a standard plug, unfortunately. So that usually makes it a little more difficult to charge with a hobby grade charger. Your on and off switch is right here. It does have fully proportional steering, which is great. So here is your small steering servo right here. And like I said, you can see it's fully proportional, which is great. You don't want just the bam bam, all steering or none. If you don't have to, and at this price point sometimes you still do get that, so it's nice that it does have fully proportional steering. Which when it has fully proportional steering, then the cars always have proportional throttle. They do have differentials here because you can see, you always can tell if the wheel spins the opposite direction when you turn it. It's got a differential, and then if you move the front, then the back will turn, and the back and the front will turn because it's all-wheel drive. So looks pretty nice for a budget car. Your brushed motor is down in here. It's a rather small brushed motor. I don't know offhand. It's probably like a 390, but again, I can't see it in there to really tell. And yeah, these friction shocks should be okay for this car. You don't typically get oil-filled shocks at this price point. Okay, let's set the car down. We'll take a brief look at the controller and then the battery. This controller looks a lot like the Zenlahong controllers, just a slightly different. Some of them have more knobs in this. This has a steering trim, which will let you line it up so that when you give it throttle, it will go in a straight line. Let me get the centered here in the camera, guys. And then over here, you got your throttle trim, which usually you want that up as far as it'll go without the car creeping forward. So you want to take that all the way up, and then if the car, if it's not at max, you know, then keep going until the car starts to creep forward, and then back it up just a hair, and that should give you the highest throttle. And then here is your power button, and then it takes probably 2 or 3 double A's here. If I, oh, there's a screw in it, so I can't get it open, but pretty sure it's probably gonna take like 3 double A's. And it does have a foam grip, and I'm always a fan of that. It seems like such a small thing, but a foam grip just is, not only is it comfortable, any perspiration on your fingers and stuff will soak in and not make it slip when you're steering. So it's just, such a minor, but to me rather important touch when they put those on there. And then here is your throttle in your reverse, which is usually a bit of a delay, and then your brake. So you're pretty standard, ready to run pistol grip controller. And then let's take a look at the battery and charger. The battery is a 2S or 2 cell, and it is 1500 milliamp hour. I don't know if that'll show up in my camera or not. 7.4 volt, which means it's 2 cells, and they're hard cells. That's how you know it's a lithium ion. They're more hard cells, where your lipo packs are soft. And you could put a lipo in here as well. You might get a little bit more kick. Lipos make a small difference at times in acceleration, even a little bit on top end sometimes. So that'll be perfectly fine. I wouldn't probably go 3S, it'd probably fry this, but a 2S lipo should be fine. So you may end up wanting to swap plugs unless you can find one with that goofy. It's actually, it looks like it's got three pins here actually in it, but when you look at the actual plug in the car itself, it's just using 2 of those, or actually the positive and negative, all the ones in there, but it looks like there's 3 slots in this plug. But and you can see there is a red, white, and a black in there, but I don't see the actual power here. Is just your positive, negative on the actual plug. And then here is your charger. This is a 5 volt 2 amp charger, so it's going to take it quite a while. You're charging off that actual plug on this one, which is a bit interesting. A lot of these do charge off balance ports. This doesn't have a balance plug on this one. Not ideal. A balance plug will help to make sure each cell gets charged fully. And when you run these down, these batteries, no 2 batteries are made identical, and one could end up dropping lower than the other. And then when you charge it up, it will tend to discharge it off the main plug to max capacity, and you could end up with one cell slightly undercharged, and one could even be slightly overcharged. So it's always best to have a balance plug, and oddly this one doesn't use it. I would like to see the basic balance plug charger on one of these, and then a balance plug off this. But you can get these lithium ion packs as well, really inexpensive. I have other ones like that I could swap in here if I want to use a battery pack that I know I can balance charge, so that the battery is getting a proper full charge. And not only that, it will help the battery last longer if you are charging it fully but not overcharging it, or getting it way out of balance. That's the worst thing, when they get really out of balance, where you have one that's much higher voltage and one much lower, because it's not using a balance charger. And then it gives you a Phillips screwdriver and some extra body clips. Let's take a brief look at the instructions here before we wrap up the table review portion. You can see they call it the Storm Riders. Sorry if I'm holding a lot of stuff up to the right here where I'm standing. I'm getting a little bit off center, but as long as it's in the field of view, we should be good. So just take a brief look here at everything. You can see here this shows a version. It looks like it's got like red tires on it. I've seen several of these around, but that's not the same car as this, or the other color that they show, which you guys can see. Of course, that is that blue color that I was mentioning earlier, is right the one that they show on the box. It also just has regular black tires. So pretty basic instruction manual, but it seems to be rather well written, and it looks comprehensive enough. And then here's your part list if you need to order any parts for this, though I don't know exactly how easy it's going to be to find those actual parts. And then a very small exploded view, which will help you if you need to make any repairs and you get it apart. Then you may need this to get it reassembled. I always recommend, if you're uncertain about that, everybody's got a cell phone nowadays, just snap some pictures while you're taking it apart, and that way you can remember how to get it back together, especially if you're going to dig down into the gearbox or something like that. All right, guys, that should wrap up the table overview portion for this little car. Let's go on, head on outside now and get to that driver view. Okay, guys, so let's take the UJ99 out for a test drive. This little 1/14 scale brushed motor RC truck. I'm going to drive in the street a little bit. I'll probably take it into the dirt here since I don't have a yard yet. And we'll see how this little vehicle does. And it's brushed, so it's not going to be super quick, but just a little bit I did in the basement, it seemed to have really good acceleration, which is nice. It is fully proportional on the steering, but it doesn't seem to have a really big steering radius, so sometimes when you're moving forward, that will increase a little bit. It does buzz a little, the servo seems to. And unfortunately on the controller, all you have is steering trim. There's no steering dual rate, so you can't like set the radius or how big of a radius you want, you know, on the steering. And it's fully proportional throttle, as you guys can see. And of course it is four-wheel drive. So let's set it down and just see how it goes. Yeah, it does have pretty good acceleration. And actually the steering's just fine. Except sometimes you have to get them out before you can really tell on the radius. Yeah, I like that. That's pretty nice. Pretty, you know, even though it's four-wheel drive, it's doing donuts for me. Oop, that was weird. I gave it throttle there for a moment, it didn't go, huh? It could have been something with the controller too, because it didn't lose bind. I've had a few cars over the years where you do some steering a whole bunch or something and it loses bind, and that's not the case with this. I've had that happen once or twice over the last 5 years of reviewing stuff. And when it does that, when an RC does that, you have to power it off and back on. It's a weird glitch I've seen before, but as I said, I'm not seeing any of that with this. Yeah, so I mean, for a little brushed RC truck, it's about what I expect. But this would be great for someone just getting into the hobby, or for someone younger, because it's got pretty good speed but not crazy speed, and it handles actually really well. Let's see how it does some jump. Well, it's got really good braking too. Let's see how it kind of jumps, because we just have friction shocks on this. Oh well, that'll be a good durability test. What we did was he slammed into the side. They got to get some of this filled in on my new house, so you know, let's see, hit the side of the sidewalk, but just hit the bumper and it's fine. What I wanted to do though is kind of see how it does jump and stuff, and that's not really the best there, but I can't jump into my yard very easily because it's just it's such a mess here. This little truck's not gonna be able to handle it. See kind of how it does going. Oh, flipped it over, all right, and rode a wheelie. Oh, perfect. Let's take it out into the dirt here, and then maybe I'll walk across the street and we'll see how that looks. Now, something rough like this, you may have to go, you know, not full speed. I'm pretty darn impressed with this little truck. I really like the way it's geared. It really has really good acceleration and seems to have pretty good torque. Yeah, this is a nice little truck. Didn't really know what to expect. Usually these little Chinese vehicles like this are inexpensive, are usually pretty decent. This one sort of exceeded my expectations so far. It's got really good power. It handles really well. Yeah, this is nice. Now I got the wind at my back, guys, but there still could be some wind noise in the mic. That's why I'm not reviewing the Holy Stone, not taking the Holy Stone drone back out that I've already. I made a comment on my channel that a Holy Stone drone had an issue and took off and crashed, and I got to get it up in the air again and continue that review. Also, I got a new Deere RC. I think it's the D22 with a 2-axis gimbal and EIS. I can't wait to get that up, but it is like 30-mile-per-hour wind gusts today is what I'm getting at. So all I can do is something on the ground today. Today would not be a good day to do a test of a drone. Oh, and it flipped over on me. that's gonna happen though. Yeah, this works pretty good. Like I said, I need to trim up the steering a little bit. I had it trimmed at the beginning, but that's not uncommon for these lower cost vehicles to have to, you know, adjust the steering trim several times throughout your drive, because they just get, the servo sort of gets knocked out of place or something a little bit when you're driving. Yeah, this is really, really good for a budget RC truck. Just see how it kind of goes through the dirt here. It's pretty muddy back here, so I don't want to have to walk back there if it flips over. So yeah, I like this a lot. Nice little basher, inexpensive. If you guys are interested in this, there'll be a purchase link down in the video description to this truck. If there's any coupons, I'll include them. As far as I know, there's not at this time. If I get one, I'll include it. But this is pretty inexpensive. I don't, unfortunately, remember the cost right at the moment, but I know it wasn't very much. It should be rather inexpensive. Nice. I really like how it does the donuts. Even though it's four-wheel drive, you know, you can still do that lots of times. Seems like it does it better turning right. Maybe losing a little bit of its punch too. It's hard to say. I don't think so. It's most of it just depending on how the surface is on the concrete here, how much grip there is. But yeah, I'm overall really impressed. I mean, a lot of people, the problem is you take your kids to the store, like Walmart, they see an RC truck that they want, and it's hard to tell the kid no, especially if it's a birthday coming up or something. You take them there, you get it, and then the thing doesn't have a proportional steering or it breaks in a day. Now, thankfully, taking it back to Walmart is not an issue. But if you want to be a little bit more patient and get something better, you can get these RC trucks from China, from Banggood, where I got this one from, or from Amazon. That's the places you want to look for these trucks, because you can get so much better for usually less or the same price as Walmart. People just don't know that. You know, your kids see something, they look really cool at Walmart. That's common. The nice looking trucks and cars, but they're junk. These are way, way better. So again, I'll put a purchase link to this truck down in the video description if you guys are interested. You know, if you want to buy anything, you know, use my links. There's no extra charge. It just helps support the channel so I can get more items to review, but there's no extra charge to you. I'm not making a bunch of money on this stuff. I just want to be able to continue to give you guys honest reviews, and to do that, you know, they're looking to see that kind of stuff. So if you guys do buy something, just do keep that in mind. I am not making a bunch of money off you guys on this channel. All right, guys, that should wrap up this review of the UJ99 brush truck. Hope you guys enjoyed this review. If you have any questions, be sure to ask down in the comments section. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up. If you're not subscribed and you're new to the channel, please do click that subscribe button and click the bell so you're notified when I do upload new videos. And as always, guys, have a wonderful day.
The power of the dark side.